Welcome back, everybody, to the weekend show where I'll be doing technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and 150 likes on this video would be greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. And if you want to go above and beyond, support the channel and get all types of daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, live trading, definitely check out my link down in the description for Patreon. With that being said, let's get right into it. So, what do we have next week? Well, lots of earnings. You can see right on my screen. You name it and it's there. Especially the big ones. We have UNH, we have UPS, Visa, Boeing, Verizon, Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, all in same day Wednesday. And top of that, that's not only a thing that we're getting. We have FOMC, we got earnings from Eli Lilly, Amazon, Apple. So that's a big week coming up starting tomorrow, Monday. And like I said, we do have FOMC on Wednesday, so we'll see how that goes. And then the Fed press conference. So Jay Powell would be out and talking and taking questions there. Now, you can see it right here. Trump slaps 10% extra tariff on Canada over a Reagan trade ad, right? And that's one thing. But then on the other hand, weekend Wall Street, especially the tech, it's up almost, I think, more than 0.5% right now. We got trade deals going on with China. And I mean, we heard it over and over, guys. A few days later, there will be a new tariff, market drops, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, there will be talks with different countries, and then oh, we are getting a deal done, and the market gaps up and runs, then it comes back on that same news, just back and forth, a lot of chop. And despite all that, what market did on Friday, you can see a brand new all-time high, right? Dow was up 1%, Nasdaq was up 1.15%, closing at a brand new all-time high. Same thing for S&P, up 0.79%, Russell up 1.22%. Stock market, 11 sectors here. You can see led the way on top: technology, utilities, communication services, financial, industrials, real estate, and lagging behind energy, consumer defensive, and consumer cyclical. A big one that was down, I think Tesla here. Stock market map. What do we have here? Pretty much all the big names are up except Tesla, down 3.40%. And there is a call wall at 420. So I believe, and there is one at 500. So at some point, if you see Tesla running, I mean, that is why this thing will be running. Google was up 2.67%, JPM up 2%. We got AMD up nearly 8%, MU up 6%, Broadcom up 3% almost, Nvidia up 2.25%, and Apple going up 1.25%. And now let's get right into Apple stock because we do have earnings this week and we need to talk about it. All right, so Apple stock is up 1.25% on Friday, and we did not hit a brand new all-time high, but you can see, I mean, this thing is definitely doing a great job. We did close this gap at 245, 46 before on that big gap down with tariff going back on China, and then market was, or actually Apple here in this case was pretty much bear flagging here, and now you can see we ripped higher and pretty much hit a brand new all-time high, which was another target that I gave you guys over this 259 range, that 265 can come on Apple stock, and that would be a new high here. And that is exactly what we got. Since then, we backed off a little bit and now consolidating and then even going up on Friday. So what is next? Well, this earnings right here, guys. And I think this one, it's not gonna be bad. It's not beat, I think, here on this earnings, and this thing can definitely run unless we get a surprise from Apple, anything that is coming out on their earnings call. But we still have a couple more days, so let's talk about Monday. If this thing gaps over 265 or gets over 265 at some point, it's heading up to 270. That's definitely happening. But if this thing pulls back, there will be support. You can see multiple rejection, bunch of candles here. Even the low here held up here. So 259 will be a key line in the sand to the downside. On its way down here, there is also going to be some support at 261.17. Why? Because we have this rising 5-day moving average. Now, if it falls below 259, then 255 to even 253.38, this gap fill comes into play right here on Apple. On Meta, it's a 0.59%, and you can see we closed over 738, exactly the number I gave you guys. And now it depends what's gonna happen with earnings, right? And a lot of these companies, I mean, we can do technical analysis all day we want, but earnings, nobody can predict what's gonna happen, how the reaction is gonna be after they release earnings. It's gonna be a big pop or a big drop. That is something we have to wait and see, especially from that earnings call. So 738 holds up. You can see the Bollinger Band on top came down, the lower one going up. So exclusive move here coming on Meta. Which way? I can't tell you guys. I wish I can, but 738 holds up. There is a little bit of push, possibly up to 746-ish, maybe even up to 750. That's where I see it's going. But if this thing does not get and push over that 738 range, it can come back down here. Now will be support at 723 because of this white line 20-day moving average, and there is also support gap fill reversal, and this consolidation here can hold up at $718.54 right here on Meta. On Amazon stock, it's up 1.41%. So another one big one with earnings. And you can see a rejection from the 50-day 225 happened on Friday, came back at just a tiny hair, but holding up at 224. So if that holds, it's going back up to 225. And if that breaks, we're going to test this high right here at 228, and possibly we'll move on and go higher from there. But this Bollinger Band has to expand to the upside. To the downside, 224 breaks. There will be support gap fill reversal 221. If that gives up, watch out for a move all the way down to 214. And we still have this gap open. We came really close to it. I even made the call out within my Patreon group to watch out to buy that dip at 210. But because it was at 211, nobody bothered. And you can see we put in a hammer candle, even though it was a red hammer candle. And things are just pushing higher from there on Amazon. On Google stock, it's up 2.67%. So Google branding all-time high, market cap getting over $3 trillion. And now you can see it's holding up here over this 257, which was that previous rejection. So many rejection here at that previous all-time high, and now that is acting as a support. We left a gap open here from Friday, 255. So if this thing were to pull back, this is where you need to watch Google to hold up, if not 253. If all that goes out of the window and this thing falls even hard, then watch down here at 248.67 and then 238 where we held before. To the upside, the next target 265 and then 270. But I think this earnings will definitely play a big role where this thing is going. More to the upside, or perhaps we see a correction down here to close that massive gap right here. So Netflix down 1.70%, and this is where I would say I don't see anything else interesting, but here Netflix, I think it's almost time. I'm not saying like go all in, but to try to get some Netflix. And why? Because RSI getting near oversold condition. Thing is trading below the lower Bollinger Band for third day already. And I think we have seen a lot of selling already. And it would be really nice to see a little bit more selling, possibly down to 1,065. That would be the dip that I'm looking for, but this is also not bad. Knowing that this thing can move rapidly and it can move in a big way. I mean, 30, $40 is peanuts for Netflix, and it can move really quickly. So even if you're down, a little bit, and if you have time, if you're buying calls, if you're buying shares, you can definitely hold as long as you know what exactly you're doing, because these are not, cheap, especially contracts on Netflix, and even the shares you're buying at 1100. So you need a lot of money to trade this, but I'm looking forward to it going into Monday to open a new position on Netflix. So watch out if this thing drops a little bit more. This would be an area to watch 1065. Right now it's trading around 1100, not even holding the lower band as a support. So if this thing retraces back up to 1100, watch out for a push, possibly up to 1140, maybe even up to 1163 right here in the short term. On Tesla stock, it was down 3.40%. So Tesla, I actually bought right here after earnings, but the contract was so expensive. So I think I got in at 420. It dipped down here. You can see down to 415, and then it came back up. I kind of got a little bit of profit. It wasn't anything big, and I got out. But then this thing pushed even higher, even pushed higher on Friday, but then gave it all back and came down. So there is a call wall here at 420. That's to the downside. As long as that holds, maybe goes below just to trigger that stop loss. And if it holds up around, I would say 415, 420, there is a call wall at 500. And there are a lot of calls being bought before the earnings and even after for 500 strikes. So you can possibly go there, but don't take my word for it. You gotta have a stop loss exactly at 420 or at least at 415 if you're buying for that $500 move on Tesla. Right now, holding at 432, so technically it's looking good, looking bullish. We did not erase all the gains from this, earnings right here. This candle. So if this thing moves back up, watch out for 442 to break, and then it's gonna go move higher, possibly up to 450 to 465, and then from there we get to see that 500 approaching here on Tesla at some point if this thing is able to hold up over at least 420 in the short term. So this is beautiful. And what did I show you guys in my last video? And I have not made an update in the last couple days, but this was the last one where I showed you guys that we're getting a lot of chop inside this wedge. And boy, oh boy, what do we got here on Friday? A gap up over the wedge, and this thing ran and ran. And I mean, look at this, still running at 254. So tomorrow, if this thing is gapping up or staying over this wedge at 242, it can possibly move up to 275. That's definitely on the card and it's heading that way. We had a lot of good consolidation here. It did not break, and now that we got that gap up and go, it can definitely continue that upwards momentum towards that 275 mark. To the downside, only thing I see 242 holds up right here, 242, 241. If not, we fill the gap and then we move back up to the upside. Only time I would be, really concerned here if this thing breaks below the gap and breaks this trend line here and comes down with a massive bearish engulfing candle. But again, guys, I mean, we cannot just look at the candles all the time because what was this right here? What was this, right? And then we got this massive green candle the next day or the day after. So we need couple of confirmation to see the downside or even upside like this one here. We need to see again hold up over 241, 242 to see more upside here on AMD. On a Microsoft, it's up 0.59%. So this is another one that I think it's making some sort of a progress for possibly a big move. Which way this earnings will decide right here this week. So a lot of chop, and now it's going back up. But watch out for a move up to 528, maybe 532. And if that breaks, it's heading higher to 538. To the downside, key support to watch right here. That would be at that 5-day moving average 520, 517. We crossed 517, so now you can see it's running. But if it falls below 517, the next support at 511.79, 508 lower band, and then this gap at 503 on Microsoft. On Nvidia stock, it's up 2.25%. So this was the last flag pattern that I posted for you guys in my video. And fast forward, you can see we had the breakout on Thursday and followed by another gap up and go and over that 184 mark, and now it's trading at 186 plus. So if this is going to stand here as is and we hold over that 184 range, it can push back up to 200 easily. So watch out. I mean, there is still money to be made as long as this holds, but just keep that in mind. You're trading something near all-time high, and also the market itself trading at a brand new all-time high. So if there is something that's going on, behind the scenes, we're not seeing. There's a lot of cracks that are opening up in the economy. But right now, just because the market runs on that one man's tweet Trump himself. That is what the market is always looking at and listening for. If things are good, market will press higher. If he comes out and says, hey, I'm doing this, more tariff or something, or China is blocked from getting these, chips and all that. I mean, any news, any bad news that, he's doing anything bad to anybody, then the market will react, will come back. And especially these names are the ones that are pumping up this market, especially when you look at SMH, the ETF. I mean, at a brand new all-time high. So you're not seeing everything hitting brand new all-time high. So it's not like all bullish for everything. But here, I mean, Nvidia again breaking out and doing its thing, even though the market cap is still the number one company, the biggest company on earth. And it's still doing it, guys. I mean, so don't get surprised. Last time we saw that almost 200 hitting here on Nvidia, and then we backed off. And now after this consolidation here, it's going right back up. So 184, your key line in the sand to hold, going into Monday session. If that gives up, watch down here, maybe 180 to 176. That's going to be the level to watch. And then this thing can come down even more. But we'll talk about that once we get there. As of right now, it's on a breakout. So let's talk about only the upside, which is going to be the next stop 190, 195, and then 200. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. And I hope you guys had a great Sunday. And I'll definitely try to keep you guys updated going into Monday night. And let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, guys.